Section 12.2, the empirical rule. In this section, we'll learn about the empirical rule, which shows the proportions of data values within 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations from the mean. About 68% of the data values will fall within 1 standard deviation from the mean. This is my normal distribution. This is my mean. These values are 1, 2, 3 standard deviations above the mean, and these are 1, 2, 3 standard deviations below the mean. To find this value, I'll take the mean plus 1 standard deviation. To find this value, I take the mean plus 2 standard deviations. To find this value, I take the mean plus 3 standard deviations. To find this value, I take the mean subtract 1 standard deviation. To find this value, I take the mean subtract 2 standard deviations. To find this value, I take the mean subtract 3 standard deviations. Within 1 standard deviation from the mean, which is from here to here. The empirical rule says 68% of the data values will fall within this region. The mean is right here. 2 standard deviations away from the mean is from this number to this number. The empirical rule says that there are about 95% of the data values will fall within this region. About 99.7% of the data values will fall within 3 standard deviations of the mean. 3 standard deviations from the mean are from this number to this number. There are about 99.7% of the data values will fall within this region. Example, scores on a standardized test were normally distributed with a mean of 510 and a standard deviation of 95. My data values are the scores on the standardized test, and they are normally distributed with mean of 510 and standard deviation of 95. The data is normally distributed, so I have a bell shape. The mean is 510. This number is 1 standard deviation above the mean. So to find this number, I take 510 plus the standard deviation. And the standard deviation is 95, so I take 510 plus 95. That is 605. This number is 2 standard deviations above the mean. So to find this number, I take 510 plus 95 plus another 95, which is 700. This number is 3 standard deviations above the mean. I'll take 510 plus 95 plus 95 plus 95, which is 795. This number is 1 standard deviation below the mean. To find this, I take 510 minus 95, which is 415. This number is 2 standard deviations below the mean. To find this number, I take 510 minus 95 minus 95, which is 320. This number is 3 standard deviations below the mean. I'll take 510 minus 95 minus 95 minus 95, which is 225. Using the empirical rule, there is about 68% of the data values fall within one standard deviation of the mean. 95% of the data values fall within two standard deviations of the mean. 99.7% of the data values fall within three standard deviations of the mean. From this particular example, there are 68% of the data values fall within 415 and 605. 95% of the data values fall within 320 and 700. 99.7% of the data values fall within 225 and 795. And I use that information to answer these questions. 68% of the students taking the test score between 415 and 605. 95% of the students taking the test score between 320 and 700. 99.7% of the students taking the test score between 225 and 795. Example, gear circumferences for manufactured bicycle part were normally distributed with a mean of 34 inches and standard deviation of 0.04 inches. Question A, draw and label a sketch of this distribution. I have a normal distribution with mean of 34 and standard deviation of 0.04. The graph of a normal distribution looks like a bell. The mean is the number right in the middle, right at the peak. That is 34. The number that is one standard deviation above the mean is 34 plus one standard deviation, and the standard deviation is 0.04, so this number is 34 plus 0.04, which is 34.04. This number is two standard deviations above the mean, so I take 34 plus 0.04 plus another 0.04, that is 34.08. This number is three standard deviations above the mean, so 34 plus 0.04 plus 0.04 plus 0.04, that is 34.12. This is one standard deviation below the mean, so I take 34 minus 0.04, that is 33.96. This number is two standard deviations below the mean. I take 34 minus 0.04 minus 0.04, that is 33.92. This number is three standard deviations below the mean. I take 34 minus 0.04 minus 0.04 minus 0.04. I get 33.88. Question B. Use the empirical rule to complete the following statements. 68% of the gear circumferences of bicycle parts are between. I want to find these two values. Using the empirical rule, I know that 68% of the data values are within one standard deviations of the mean. So that is within 33.96 and 34.04. 95% of the gear circumferences of the bicycle part are between, and I want to find these two numbers. From empirical rule, 95% of the data values are within two standard deviations of the mean, which is from 33.92 to 34.08. 99.7% of the gear circumferences of bicycle part are between 33.88 and 34.12.